All right, welcome to another round of the Coaches Show. And as always, Austin McNorton, Coach Helting, Greenback football, 7-2 on the season, entering this round of playoffs against, once again, the Andale Indians. We'll get to them here in a little bit. Honestly, I don't know that we will. I told you guys before the show, this might be a bit of a shorter Coaches Show than what we normally do. We've already talked about Andale leading up to a week of Andale. So, but mainly I'd like to recap that Holcomb game. Everybody likes to get your thoughts on the game that happened previously as much as the one coming up. But like I said, we've talked Andale before. So let's dive into that Holcomb game a little bit. How do you think how do you think the night went?
I thought offensively that was actually our best performance of the year. Especially the first half, and not just from a scoring points. We talk all the time about process. It's about the process, not necessarily results. Because if you get results focused, a lot of different things can happen to disappoint you, or to give you a false sense of security. But I thought offensively we executed. You guys know me. I know you joke about it. I'm pretty picky on film and and there was a lot of plays that I couldn't find really anything wrong with. There's plays that I'm like, I'm going to tag this play and put it in the playbook because this is how it's supposed to be ran. Attach that as a video image to our playbook. So I thought we executed at a really high level. I thought the kids were crisp. I thought they played really hard. The thing I was most pleased to see, I thought, especially on our strong side, I thought Brock and Drake played with a lot of force. When they play with force, we're really good. And when they get movement off the ball and not just stalemate, all of a sudden those holes really open up. And then I thought our backs really blocked for each other. I thought Carson, Max, Johnny, those guys had great games blocking for each other. And that opens up so many things when we're willing to do that. And, we scored I think Holcomb, the most they allowed all year was 28, and we scored 34 in the first half. So it was impressive. With that.
Yeah, Coach, talk about your mentality of your team to kind of stay resilient and stay after it. After you give up the opening kickoff return for a touchdown, they go up and you say, all right, how do we just kind of keep it? You guys go right down the field and did not score in that entire first half. You were perfect.
Yeah, I told him there was 15 seconds off the game. Like we've got a lot of game left. There's only 15 seconds gone. Yeah, it's not ideal, and we got to clean that up, and we got to clean up our kickoff coverage as a whole. We worked on it this week a lot. But don't panic. We knew that we could score points. I told him all week that thought we had a good game plan coming in. Thought we saw some things that we could attack. Things that they did, places where we thought maybe we had some advantages, and our kids did a good job of that. They didn't blink, they didn't waver. Our seniors are pretty consistent on play every single play. Just forget about the scoreboard. Play every play like it's your last play, because you never know. And if we do that, we'll see another week. And I thought our kids did a great job of seizing the moment and doing that.
How much of that mindset do you thought came into that game? That was kind of the first real win or go home game that those seniors have faced, and that's always a big one. It doesn't settle until you're actually faced with it. How you felt like they responded to that win or go home mentality?
Good. I think they responded all week in practice. I think it's hard. We talked tonight, and we talked a little bit off air about how our seniors always talk about and they did it after practice tonight. Their favorite. I get them up before the end of the season. They talk about their favorite memory. As a Greenback, they talk about what being a Greenback football player means to them, putting on that helmet, and then they give advice, any piece of advice they have to the underclassmen. And it's kind of a cool thing we do. And I think last week our kids talked about, we were supposed to do it last week, because it was playoff time, you never guaranteed, but unfortunately the road construction got us a little late to Holcomb. We were going to do it before then. So thank God we got another week so they could do that, because I would have hated to miss out and listen to them. It's always fun for me to listen to what they think. But I think our kids all week, they embraced it. They knew we're a good football team. They know that our aspirations didn't stop at the first round. They were also aware that we could win the first playoff game in 4 years, first in their career. And that, we won a league title last year. Now we talked about, I told them before the game, every senior class leaves their legacy. And we talk all the time about leaving the program better than you found it. Well, my first year here, we had our, 2-7, then we went 3-6 and we're in a few more games. And then we went 6-3 and won the league title, but we didn't win a playoff game. We were 6-2 this year, heading in the playoffs, just like last year. Like, leave it better than you found it. We got to win this game, and I think it's the 7th win season in the last 20 years for Pratt. This is a great season. It's hard to win 7 football games. That's a lot of wins in a year. So I was really proud of them. It was a big goal of theirs, and they played like it on Friday night.
Coach, you talked about how special your backs were on Friday night. How valuable was having Johnny Martinez healthy now in that matchup against the Longhorns that we didn't get to see last year, and his value of being on the field and not just offensively but defensively as well?
Yeah, and Johnny's to you. I mean, he's a playmaker. That's what he does. And he brings that. He has so much confidence. It bleeds through to other people. He's that kid that he's gonna go anywhere, and he's not gonna be scared of anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. He's not scared because he's put in the work. And so, I mean, he carries that confidence. Our kids know that if they put him in position, he's going to make a play. And then not only him, like I said, I thought all of our Jared Johnson had over 80 yards receiving, had a huge game. Justice had a huge, huge catch on the 1 4th down, the only drive we really faced any resistance the first half on that 4th and 6. Max, I think, is just playing incredible football right now. And Carson, I think both of those guys have really taken command in the backfield, getting us lined up, getting us in the right thing. And I think they're both playing really, really good football. We talk all the time about just taking what the defense gives you. If it's 1 or 2 yards, take it. Live to fight another play, but don't get negative plays. I think we're doing a really good job of that overall. The only time we got behind the sticks, I thought a little bit, was we had a couple of snafus in the second half. One time in the first half, but it's going to happen. You're not going to be perfect, but I thought our kids did a really, really good job of executing that on Friday night.
Yeah, I thought, another name that I thought had a real game was Keyrell Thompson.
Oh,
got in the end zone on the defensive side, had a heck of a game. He always has a good game, but I thought he really stood out that game.
Well, and Keyrell's one of those kids. I mean, he is strong. You want to talk about a kid that's put time in the weight room. That kid's put time in the weight room, and he is strong. And, we thought, I went in last week. I said, I think we need to play Keyrell at defensive end. Their quarterback / running back was really good. I mean, their running backs were good, and their quarterback is as good a players as we played all year.
He showed that.
Yeah, he's a really good football player, and we thought, Rel's athleticism would really help us, and not just athleticism. He was taking guys that weigh 100 pounds more than him, and he was just holding them off and jamming them. I thought he did an excellent job of playing off blocks, playing technique sound for playing there 1 week. He played really technique sound, got under kickouts, except for a couple instances, he did a really good job. He's a really good football player, and we're lucky to have him.
Coach, they say in every single sport that you want to be playing your best ball, get headed into the playoffs, right into the playoffs. Do you feel like your team is playing its best you've seen all season at this point?
I do. I think offensively, defensively, we've got to clean a couple things up. I think we've got to tackle better. That's the big thing. I think we were in position, and then we've got to get our eyes right. We've talked about that. It's hard. Holcomb does a lot of things with eye candy, with motion and stuff in the backfield, riding fakes. They ride them for a long time. But we've got to get our eyes right on our keys, and that's going to be really important, tomorrow night, I think. But I think offensively we're playing about as well as we can play right now. I think we're doing really good things offensively. No game's ever going to be perfect. You can't expect that. But I think we're playing at a high level and giving ourselves the best chance we can to win. And that's all you can do.
I'm sure you listen to the broadcast, Brent. Our post show broadcast, or just afterwards. Everybody does. I think we had a couple million on there watching it.
Is that it?
Yeah. But one of the comments that came from, I think it was probably me that made it, was that we had to get a shirt made that said, what was it? Coach Holting is not happy.
Is not happy. Yeah.
And one of those times, there wasn't very many, but was on the kickoffs. Can you walk us through a little bit of the kickoffs or lack thereof on the defense of the kickoffs? Just a lapse in mental or personnel. I heard there might have been some personnel.
There was a little bit there. Obviously we had some injuries, but we were coming down all in one lane. We weren't coming in waves, and we talk to our kids all the time. Like our contain guys were like, well, I kept him inside of me. Well, yeah, he was 30 yards inside of you. That doesn't do us any good. You've got to be there and force it. You just got to keep your outside shoulder free. I thought our paths weren't good. We were coming straight down and then trying to take a right or left turn and angle straight in. Well, geometrically, they're going to run past you there. You're not taking good angles at them. And so I didn't think our lane integrity was good. And then we were not fighting off. We always talk about you got to get to the butt side of blocks. In other words, if they're trying to turn you this way, you got to get to their butt side because that's where they're going. And I thought we gave ourselves up way too easily and dipped our shoulder into sides, and that's what happens. And then they did a good job. They sealed us off, but we dipped into those blocks. And then also, when you're the last guy there, so to speak, last Mohican, so to speak, you've got to not dip through a block. You've kind of got to back up, play with your feet, play with your hands and just make a touchdown saving tackle. But I thought our lane integrity was bad. Our safety got a little too gung-ho and came up too far. Fixable, correctable mistakes, but mistakes we made a couple times, didn't kick it to the right spot. That we've worked hard on correcting this week in practice.
And that was my question, Coach. Is there any kind of scheme with that of saying you want Adrian to put it in the end zone, through the end zone, and get a touchback every time? Or is there say, hey, Adrian, put it at like the 4-yard line and make him return it? Like, is there any of that?
No, we don't want to
decision
put it
from
at
you?
4. If we can put it in the end zone, we want to put it in the end zone every time.
Is that what you tell him
It's
to
a
do?
pretty big advantage. The wind was going a little bit though, and he's been battling a little toe injury, so he wasn't quite striking the ball quite like he still had a few touchbacks because his legs just that good. And we thought there was a big open spot. The problem is we kicked it to the right, and the big open spot was to the left on the one we were going to pooch. A couple we were going to pooch. We did it in the second half and had pretty good coverage. But no, if he has the wind at all, and we think we can go in the end zone. Anytime you don't have to make a tackle because it's always scary in high school football. I know teams hold their breath every time they kick it to Johnny or Carson. So anytime we can put it in the end zone, start on the 20, that's what we want to do.
Okay.
Well, and I've got to roast you. I mean, you come off a big playoff win. I've got to roast you a little bit. So I'm only asking you the kickoff question. In the booth, I'm Mr. Professional. After the game,
but not
that's
now.
on your turf. When you're here on my turf, I get to roast you a little bit.
Is this coming back for the ping pong comment last week?
No, I'd forgot all about it until just now.
Okay, well, I just want to remind you again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Again, moving on. What awards from that game? Hits. I can imagine who the hit was. We had one that I assume was Johnny's
Johnny.
late there.
Yep.
Oh man, that was
another good one.
That was impressive. But run down.
He's still mad at me because he didn't get one a couple games ago.
We mentioned that on the
thought he
radio
was probably going out hunting for that one.
That's what we said.
He hunts for hit sticks. Yeah, he's a collector.
Yeah, we said that on the broadcast.
He'll come over right after it. Hey, you see that one? That one better be in contention.
That's good though.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's awesome. That's what Johnny brings. He's that energy.
It's like a whiteout in the NFL. Every play, I'm open.
Yeah. I'm hitting you, and he will. He will bring it. He loves to hit people every play. I thought he played well. Carson Hamey blocked 2 kicks.
We saw
had a third. I don't
extra
know
point.
how the other extra point made it through him. He doesn't know how. He kind of turned in, and we were teasing him a little bit. He didn't want to take a shot right in the gut or somewhere else. Turned in. I don't know how that one missed him, but he blocked 2. Blocked a punt, blocked an extra point.
Special teams player of the game.
Anytime you get an extra point block, that's just a straight hustle play. If you can get in there quick enough to block an extra point, that's just straight hustle.
Yeah, and then that's what Carson does. That's who he is. He always hustles on those. Kyrell Thompson was our practice player of the week. He practiced his tail off all week, learned a new position in 1 week, and you saw how well he played.
Yeah.
Thought he was very, very deserving because he had such a good game too. And he had a great game overall. I thought Max just had a really, really good game. He had over 150 rushing, almost 140 passing. Anytime you can put up about 300 total yards, that's pretty rarefied air in high school football. And I think Max has really grasped when to lower his shoulder, when to dance, when we need 2 tough yards versus when we want to make a big play. He stood in and took a heck of a shot, off that last touchdown. We were up 2, and coaches would have probably been smart and ran the ball. And I said, hey, we're going to go for the kill shot here. I think they're sucked up. And the kids were in agreement in the huddle, like, let's run 7 cold. Let's go. And, he hit Jair for a huge play, that last back-breaking touchdown for them, and he took a shot on that play. That was a heck of a throw. So I thought Max really deserved that. Overall, he's playing really good football right now.
Justice took a shot, too. I saw
Yes,
him.
he did.
Saw him the next morning at flag football. He said, hey, I just want to let you know it didn't hurt that bad. I said,
see,
well, God, it sure looked like it did.
Yes.
So, and it's funny you say that because then Max, on the other hand, he took that shot and he's like, I didn't want to cry, but a little kid came up and hugged me on Saturday morning and squeezed my ribs. And I was like, oh, thanks. So he was the opposite on the other hand. He took a pretty good shot, but no, I was proud of our kids. I thought that was a tough, that's a really good football team.
Right.
It was a good game.
That's a good football team that I thought we really controlled from the opening. After the opening kickoff,
Yeah.
I thought we controlled pretty much throughout. And so I was really proud of our kids for that effort because that's a top 5, top 10 type football team.
You sent me a video before on a bus ride to a game. Like, see how quiet these kids are. What different was it on the way home after a big win like that?
It was celebratory until they each got like a half a pizza and all that stuff. It was celebratory until about 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, I just got my belly full. That's how I'm tired.
The
And I'm gonna
adrenaline's
go to
off.
sleep.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to go to sleep. So they were pretty quiet on the way back, actually.
You mentioned how in the post game like huddle afterwards, you mentioned some of the seniors, Carson being one of them, saying, all right, now we got to really focus and watch film and learn as much as we can about the team that we just saw. I mean, I'm sure you watched film on the bus ride home. Was there any other players like quizzing you, already asking questions and saying, all right, we're already getting focused?
Well, the way we have to sit on the bus, there's not, I mean, I got a couple texts like, hey, did you see this? Or, hey,
Okay.
see that? Just from the back of the bus,
Yeah.
they'll text you up. And so, yeah, I think our kids are focused. They know what's at stake. They know who we're playing. Everybody knows who we're playing. They know what happened last time. We got beat worse than we wanted to. We had some chances to do some stuff that we've got to execute at a really high level that we just did not do. And they make you pay for that. So they know we've got to clean those mistakes up. And a lot of our kids have been talking this week. They're in a good frame of mind. We're ready to go play tomorrow night and take our shot.
How much difference does it make this week? For anybody who doesn't know, the weather has moved up this game from Friday to Thursday. Chances of lightning and thunderstorms Friday, but so the game's going to be played Thursday night versus Friday. Gives you and Andale both. I mean, it's not one-sided, but both get one shorter day to prepare, watch film. Just kind of pushes that whole timeline of a weekly routine, and everybody knows how important routine is. How do you adjust to that on such short notice, or do you just say, hey, we've got to do it? There's not really a choice.
I mean, this is what it is. Keisha told us they're moving the game. So we take it, we deal with it. We've talked all the time in here, and I've told you, we talk all the time about handling adversity. We can't tell the kids to do it all the time if we're not going to handle it and complain about it. Andale's on the same schedule we are, on the same week we are. They got the same amount of time we do. So you make the best of it. You maybe shorten some things you were going to do, really narrow in your focus on the really important things, and get ready to go as best you can. I mean, the good news, we played them 2 weeks ago,
right?
So and they're not going to scrap what they do, because why would they? I mean, they've been so successful. They're such a good football team, and we know we got to execute better and do what we do at a really high level. So we've been focused on doing those two things, and we'll be ready to go tomorrow night.
Yeah, if we can pull off Mission Valley last year, we can pull off
Thursday
Thursday game this year.
Yeah, 8 o'clock on a Thursday night. Or no, that was about 10 o'clock on 10 or 11 o'clock on a Thursday night.
Right.
Yeah, that one was a crazy one, because the kids didn't know until we got to school that next day. Yeah.
What are some of the pros and cons of playing a team that you literally just saw 2 weeks ago, and what are some of the challenges with it?
I would say the biggest challenge would be, especially for us, what kind of stinks and just benefits them in the schedules. They, obviously our offense is really unique to face. Not very many people run it. Well, one of the teams that do is Goodland, who they played last week. So this will be their third week in a row practicing against our offense. So you would assume that their scout team's gotten a lot better at running it. And because the thing that gets you just like their offense is the speed of it, of what we run. And I know we talked to coaches afterwards, like, man, it hits faster. We think we have time on film, and your linemen are on us and all of that. And it's the same way with their offense. So I think familiarity is going to be there on both sides tomorrow. So there's advantages in that. You can react faster. So I really think it's going to come down to what team executes game plan better. And in any game, there's a handful of plays that you got to make or not make, to make the difference in the game. We're gonna have to make sure we make them.
I think it should be a fun game. Close road trip, should have a good crowd from the Pratt fans heading over there. They talked. Do you know if they ever got finalized a pet bus, or
they're bringing a pet bus?
They are bringing a pet bus. So pet bus heading over. Short hour drive. I think it's going to be a fun night. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you don't have to divulge too much, but is there anything drastic that you change? Like, is there, I don't know, is there any scheme, say, all right, I'm going to run this new play, run this new kind of look at defense to try
and think he's going to answer that, Austin?
And I'm just saying, you don't have to. I'm just wondering, as a coach's mindset.
Dylan Schmidt is waiting for this video to air so he can get his game plan.
Well, he's a lot smarter than I am.
I'm a very curious man.
I'm definitely not going to answer that question.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. I'm just curious.
You bet. If you did, I would censor it.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, I got your back, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I had to.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Like I said, we've talked about Andale before. We know what to expect. They're going to be a beast. If you want to make it deep in the postseason, you're going to face them at some point. We've got them this week, and
I think people know, and our kids have earned that respect. I told them it was awesome. We had all league voting last night, and going there and talking to their coaches. There were a couple coaches that I had a coach text me today and say, this is a state championship. I've watched your guys' last few games on YouTube, and they're like, this is a state championship type game.
I hope he
second
watched.
round.
I hope he watched the right stream.
Well, of
The
course.
Eastus Media
Why-
stream?
I think that's why people watch, because they're jealous of our announcing team.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Andale won't let us
Yeah.
broadcast over there.
Well, I think starting with the second round of the playoffs,
Keisha and FHS,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Fortunately, it's out of everybody's hands. But yeah, I mean, it is. This is a state championship level type game. I mean, I firmly believe we're that kind of team. Obviously, everybody knows they're that type of team, and so hopefully we come out, give our best effort, and let the chips fall where they may.
I think we will.
Can't wait.
Side note, pivot here. You mentioned the league meetings last night. I want to give a shout out to switch to me.
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
to
the
the
volleyball
volleyball
girls.
girls. They were announced
Do that.
tonight. My daughter, sophomore Ryan Eastus, got honorable mention. JC Tice, second team all league, and then Gabby Gatlin and Gabby Heredia both made honorable mention as well.
And shout out the cross country.
That's what I was going to give you the chance here to speak on how proud of a dad moment for Cam going there and racing, and then the boys team did well too. Yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts on Cam.
Boys team went. Nate got 12th. Placed a medal at state. Nate Chavez. It's an incredible season from him, and boys ran good as a whole. Cameron got 29th. Top 20 medal, but his freshman year. It was awesome. It was exhausting. We got back.
Yeah, that was a lot of
and,
miles.
Got back from Holcomb. And I think, I'm one of those that always has to wind down and watch a little film to wind down after games. So I think I got to bed about 2:30 on Saturday morning, got up at 6. And thankfully my wife is awesome. She's a trooper, and she drove so I could watch film on the way up there and the way back. It's my Amigos, a little over a 3-hour drive. But that was one of those fun moments, first time experiencing as a dad. Your daughter's in high school, and I was really proud of the season she had, really proud of how far she's came. I know she would probably tell you I'm on her more than any of even the high school boys about toughness and stuff like
We heard
that.
it just a bit ago.
She was in here for 2 minutes.
Yeah. So she's learned that mantra early in her life, but I was really proud of how tough she ran, and how, I know with 100 and some kids in a race, it's easy to get intimidated your freshman year. And I thought she did a great job of staring that down and competing, and hopefully come back next year stronger and get a medal. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, great kind of
fantastic.
all around success for the Greenbacks.
Yeah.
Cross country, tennis, everybody,
Absolutely.
volleyball. So hope to see that success continued this Thursday night. I'm used
Thursday
to Friday
night.
night. I know. Thursday night over at Andale. We won't be streaming, but we will be on the radio. The
got
links, we've got you covered. Tune in, listen. If you can't make it over there, it's going to be a fun one. We're looking forward to it, Coach.
For sure.
Appreciate you coming
Awesome.
in. All right, see you Thursday night.
Thank you.